This text does not accuse individuals. It dissects mechanisms. It does not shout slogans. It traces vectors, incentives, and feedback loops.
If you are looking for heroes or villains, stop now. This document concerns systems that function precisely because no single human controls them. The first misunderstanding about power is believing it prefers visibility. Modern control prefers abstraction, deniability, and statistical insulation. It operates best when outcomes appear emergent rather than design. No hand pushes the crowd, the floor is simply angled. Social engineering is not persuasion in the traditional sense. It is environmental design applied to cognition, where behavior is shaped not by arguments, but by constraints, affordances, and cost gradients. People do not do what they are told. They do what feels easiest, safest, and most socially reinforced under time pressure. The architecture begins with attention. It's exigent, segmented, scheduled, and harvested through rhythm, interruption, emotional priming, and variable reward distribution. This is not manipulation by deceit, but by rhythm. When thought is constantly broken, coherence never forms long enough to threaten structure. Language is standardized early because vocabulary limits the range of permissible thought. Once complexity is framed as elitism, precision becomes suspicious by default. Simplified language does not empower populations, it narrows their internal modeling capacity. Every interface is a classroom. Every menu teaches priority. Every metric teaches value. What is measured becomes real. What is unmeasured dissolves into irrelevance. Choice remains technically intact but functionally constrained. Options are curated so that deviation carries friction, delay, or reputational cost. Freedom is preserved as a legal abstraction while being neutralized as a practical behavior. Fear is not applied continuously, it is modulated. Low-grade anxiety shortens time horizons, increases conformity, and suppresses abstract reasoning without triggering revolt. Panic is inefficient, background tension is optimal. Information is not suppressed wholesale, it is atomized. Facts are released without synthesis, context without casualty, and revelations without consequence. The population drowns in fragments while starving for structure. Narratives do not need to be believed, they only need to be repeated often enough to define conversational boundaries. What cannot be discussed calmly cannot be organized around effectively. The system does not punish dissent directly, it exhausts it. Outrage is allowed, even encouraged, because outrage disperses energy horizontally instead of vertically. Angry populations feel active while remaining strategically inert. Surveillance is misunderstood as observation. Its real function is prediction. Once behavior is predictable within acceptable margins, enforcement becomes unnecessary. Incentive self-correct deviation before it escalates. Social pressure replaces force because it externalizes. Enforcement costs communities police themselves when norms are engineered correctly, and compliance feels like belonging rather than submission. Institutions do not need to conspire explicitly when incentives align implicitly. Risk management, liability avoidance, profit optimization, and reputational shielding all point in the same direction. Coordination emerges without meetings. History is compressed not to erase it, but to prevent pattern recognition. Without temporal depth, recurrence appears as coincidence, and systemic failure is reframed as isolated error. Education prioritizes procedural fluency over structural comprehension. Graduates learn how to operate systems, not how to question why those systems exist in their current form. Competence without context produces efficient obedience. The public sphere is redesigned as a performance-based. Visibility places validity. Virality replaces verification. Truth becomes a format competing against entertainment under identical algorithmic criteria. Collapse, if it occurs, will not resemble invasion or revolution. It will resemble normalization. Degraded standards accepted gradually. Agency outsourced incrementally, and meaning replaced with throughput. People sense this intuitively and mislabel it as nihilism, fatigue, or cultural decay. In reality, it is the psychological cost of living inside optimized environments that no longer account for human limits. The final deception is not ignorance but resignation. Once populations internalize the belief that systems are too complex to change, control becomes self-sustaining. Resistance does not begin with rebellion, it begins with literacy. Understanding how incentive scope behavior reintroduces agency where emotion once dominated.